So it is Deadpool week, guys. It has been a long road for Deadpool. If you guys have been following us for the past year, we've covered everything Deadpool. We've covered leaks. We've covered rumors. We've covered news. We've covered articles. We've covered cameos. Every single thing about Deadpool we have covered. So, Jerry, how do these reviews make you feel going into this Deadpool film on Thursday?
I already knew that this movie was going to be awesome, but now it's like I have no doubt that this is going to be a great movie. Some comments about balancing the humor and all that good stuff. I'm pumped. There's no reason not to be. We knew this movie was going to be a banger, and all these reviews confirmed it. By the way, IGN, I think IGN does a 7 at this point, because they know they're going to get flamed in the comments. And I think that's what they want, because it drives engagement. That's all they care about.
So you think it's just a troll to get
I think they compromise on their integrity to drive engagement. I think that they probably, because obviously people from IGN saw the movie to do the review, and they were like, you know what? This movie was probably an 8 or a 9. But we're going to give it a 7 because we'll get more comments.
Deadpool and Wolverine, man. I mean, this has been the craziest journey, because I remember when Deadpool 3 was first announced, we all thought that it was like a mystery that Hugh Jackman was going to even come back, and then we got that crazy clip where he was just like, Hugh, are you going to come back? And he's like, yeah, F you, Ryan. And then it became a reality that Wolverine is returning. And then leading up to when you and I covered the first look at the Wolverine suit when they're walking in the desert, and every fan went insane because, like, oh my gosh, he's wearing the freaking yellow suit. And then we go to the Super Bowl trailer where we saw the trailer where we got to see Wolverine in action. And now, because of this film, this is putting us into a multiversal fest of so many characters that we are going to see. But this is also setting up the biggest event in comic book history, which is going to be Secret Wars. So do you think that this movie is going to play a really big part into what the landscape of the future is going to be?
I saw one comment that, and this was kind of the one comment that like got me thinking about the movie the most, because obviously it gets boring when everyone's just glazing the movie. Like, we know the movie's good. You don't need to tell us how much you love the movie. That's an obvious. I like commentary that tells me something unique. And I hope that's what we do for you, that whoever's watching this. So, there was one review that said something to the effect of the ending really sets up the future of the MCU. And that leads me to the question, does he mean the ending? Does he mean the post-credit scene? It seems that comment to me says that most of the movie isn't really setting up the future of the MCU, but the end is the impactful part, because Kevin Feige also said that this movie is super impactful. I think someone else said, in Infinity War is like a 9 in terms of being impactful on the MCU, and Endgame is a 10 in being impactful on the MCU, and Deadpool and Wolverine is an 8. An 8, but I guess if you think about Endgame, the end was the most impactful part. So, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but I want impact like right away. I think that's one of the things that us fans have been missing from the MCU for a really long time. We've had a lot of movies that have had no real impact on the MCU. Kevin Feige already said this is where the mutants era begins. So, listen, I do think that going forward, the transfer of characters from one universe to the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to be a big thing. And I'll tell you who I think it's going to be a big thing with. I've always said, Miles Morales is number 1. And I'm not number 1 of who's going to happen first, but I guarantee you the Miles Morales that we know in the Spider-Verse movies is taken from the Spider-Verse at the end of the last Spider-Verse movie, and they're going to transfer him to the MCU, because why not use the Miles Morales that everybody knows and loves? Just a no-brainer in terms of financial success.
100%.
Number 2, we know the Fantastic Four are going to be transferred. They've never actually confirmed it, but they pretty much spelled it out. The Fantastic Four are going to be taken from one universe to the other. And I do think that there is going to be some universe transferring maybe in this one. I know of some characters that were confirmed from some of the spoilers that I'm not going to get into. I think I had some others and I'm blanking on them now. But my point is that there are going to be characters that are transferred from other universes to the MCU. And it very well could be starting this week in Deadpool and Wolverine, but they're obviously going to do it with Miles Morales. They've basically told us they're doing it with the Fantastic Four, even though that movie starts in the MCU. It's not actually the MCU universe, which no one knows what number is because they kind of flip-flop on that too. But it's either 616 or 1999, which I don't like that they say it's 616 because if 616 is the comics, how could you say that Secret Wars, which happened in the comics, the 2015 one, and then it's going to happen again? I mean, either the comics are 616 or the MCU is. You can't say two separate universes are the same universe. You can't have that. So the comics and the MCU cannot be the same universe. It does not make sense.
And maybe that's what we're going to learn is not true. Maybe it is 1999. I mean, who knows? And I think Earth 1999 is probably the best option. I agree because the 616 has everyone.
616 makes no sense because
exactly.
You can't. Yeah, if you don't get it after I explain that, I don't know what to tell you. But
exactly, yeah, I agree. But how do you feel about it, bro? What's going on in your brain?
Boys, this is going to be the greatest course correction that I think Marvel will ever do. I think the MCU is going to come back. With everything in Phase 4, the recent movies we've been seeing, to me, it's felt like homework. That's also how I feel about Star Wars too, but that's another topic. But with everything MCU wise, everything has felt like homework for me to watch. There's been a few things that I've enjoyed, but this has been the first time ever since Endgame that I've been excited for a Marvel movie. Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm telling you, man, like I think this is the course correction we needed. Arguably, a thought I was having is like perfectly timed. When them getting, of course, Fox Studios and then like them seeing like where they're at. Like I'm sure Ryan Reynolds was just like, Hugh wants to do it. He called me. I know exactly what we're going to do. Bring the TVA on, and then let's just reboot everything, Fox Universe, wipe things out, and start fresh.
So you weren't excited for Ant-Man when you knew it was the introduction to Kang the Conqueror?
I was hopeful. The thing for me is I wasn't too familiar with Kang. I knew about Kang through Earth's Mightiest Heroes and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, all right. That villain's going to be making...
So you're not a comics guy?
Not a big comics guy, big movie guy, not a big comics guy. Exactly, yeah. So when I heard about Quantumania, I was like... I remember when things started dropping, I'm like, oh, it has potential. Bill Murray's in it. It's going to be some crazy stuff. Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp, here we go. And when you watch it, I'm like, okay, Spy Kids 5. Cool. Let's just see if we can go with there. So interesting stuff. But yeah, everything kind of Phase 4. It's had its ups and downs. But again, Deadpool Wolverine, I think, is the course correction we need. And it's gonna put us in the right direction for sure.
I agree. Yeah. Okay.
Now we're going to way to put it as a course correction. You know, we were wondering, we've been going back and forth whether the course correction was a myth that we created in our own minds. We weren't sure. You know?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.